He's too focused.
He is focused. I just went live, so I'm just gonna confirm that everything is linked. I see us on Twitch live. I want to. Oh, you're a new subscriber. That was loud. I gotta. Man, fuck it. Who cares? All right. Let me see if I can see it. I'm just gonna do this real quick. Ah, now live. Okay, so I can see it here, and I can see it here. Badger, do you want to monitor, if you can, the YouTube, and then I'll monitor the Twitch just in case we have two channels? I mean, I can go back and forth, but I don't have them. I can't have both up at the same time.
I don't see us live on
YouTube
yet.
Oh, I see it. So.
Oh no, I do.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
So you can watch the chat just in case we get anything in there. All right. So let's start this off. What's going on, guys? This is PnC Dynasty episode 8, the last one before the regular season starts. Tomorrow is the big day. Buccaneers versus the Cowboys. Probably, 8:15, 8:20 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a big one. I'm excited. The regular season's coming in, and we got a lot of talk. We got a lot of things to talk about. But first, a little sponsor stuff. Badger, if you want to go over the sponsors.
Sure. Just want to give a quick plug to BetterThan.Vegas. They have got all the sports picks that you need. I personally post a bunch of plays there, but if you're looking for tennis, football is coming up, soccer, they have everything you could possibly want. And it's free to sign up as well. So they do month-long competition. Whoever is up the most units at the end of the month wins $100 or $1,000 cash. So head over to BetterThan.Vegas. Just a quick plug for them.
Awesome. All right, so let's get straight into all the NFL news going on today. We got a ton of stuff. We got Latavius Murray to talk about. We got Le'Veon Bell signing with the Baltimore practice squad, if that's going to do anything. Austin Eckler is sidelined on practice. Is Saquon going to be starting for week 1? What's his status? We got a lot to go over, so let's start it off. I guess we can start with Latavius Murray. If you want to say anything, Derek.
Well, I guess nobody knew who would end up being in the RB2 spot there, but they, I guess, cut ties with someone that has been pretty consistent for them. So they must be confident in Tony Jones, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. I guess. Yeah, I guess Kamara ain't coming out.
Yeah, I guess it revolved around him refusing to take a pay cut, but understandably so. I mean, he had his best season last year, and obviously Kamara's the guy. So hopefully he lands somewhere where he'll still get some touches.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking for Latavius Murray, obviously I'm happy because I saw like a rumor that he was going to get cut, so I picked up Tony Jones right away. Perfect handcuff right now, especially having Kamara. But I feel like Latavius Murray's best spot would be Baltimore Ravens. I mean, obviously they did get Le'Veon Bell to the practice squad, so I guess that kind of takes away from that a little bit. But I think he could
Yeah, I
put up
mean,
something there.
the Ravens did lose power, so
Yeah.
it kind of almost makes more sense than. I mean, I won't say it makes more sense than Bell because Bell, if he's got anything like his old self left in the tank, then you have a special talent, and that's much better to have than Murray. But I mean, if you're worried about Gus Edwards on the goal line, Latavius Murray is not a shabby option. I have to think that if he's looking for a lot of money, then it needs to work out with the team and whatever their cap situation is. So
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
true.
I
I
would
don't know.
think
But
I
after,
agree with Vin that he even said yesterday, I read something that he wants to go to Baltimore. I don't know if this was pre Le'Veon Bell or not, but it doesn't seem like Le'Veon Bell is going to be relevant there at this point in time, as he wasn't even promoted to the 53-man roster. But
Yeah.
other I guess potential landing spots. I said this yesterday to you guys. Buffalo maybe. I know Derek doesn't agree with it, but they just don't have a true power runner, and would take away some of my Josh Allen points, but also potentially protect them. And then also, I mean, you gotta think. I mean, this is probably a hot take, but the New York Giants, potentially as well. I think could use them. So probably won't happen there. Baltimore's probably going to be then eventual landing spot for him.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of the Giants, I don't know. I think it bodes well for Saquon and his health that Corey Clement is gone. You only have the one, true backup in Devontae Booker. I'm actually not sure who else the Giants have, but it's
Not really
it,
anyone.
it's not a bad thought. I mean,
Yeah.
like if they're comfortable with Booker, you would think they wouldn't, use another spot on their 53 for Murray, who's trying to get a bunch of money. I could see the Bills signing him. They signed Devonta Freeman last year, so they're not above testing the waters with these guys. I think they're confident enough in Moss being that power guy, and I think as I said to you yesterday, spreading out the formation is kind of what they do on the goal line. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Giants are also going to be trying to run a bunch of spread formations. So I'm not too confident that they want Murray, especially this late in the preseason.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, we talked about Le'Veon Bell a little bit signing with the practice squad. To me, I don't think it's anything for fantasy wise. He's obviously going to have to prove himself. Yes, their backfield is hurting and they have Gus Edwards to start, but Le'Veon Bell's been a question mark ever since he left the Steelers. So who even knows if he'll even make it past the practice squad at this point in his career? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe foolishly confident that it was a clear cut, practice squad signing only to bump him up to the 53. I still, I guess, would be shocked if he wasn't used, you know, being who he is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he maybe by like week 7 he'll have some relevance.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't even do that much in Kansas City last season outside of that one game, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
It is like the weirdest thing ever. I
Yes.
mean, we know running backs fall off cliffs, but this was like absolutely the epitome of that.
Yeah, it really. I mean, ever since he started that shit in Pittsburgh, it just kind of tanked for him.
I mean, it's almost just like the whole thought that the Steelers O line being what made Bell is actually true because he goes to the Jets, who have at best a mediocre O line, and or at least in those years they actually have a very solid O line at this point.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean he goes there and does really nothing. I mean he was dynamic, but not efficient, not effective in at all levels of the field. It was a mess. So obviously we know how that ended. He leaves and signs with the Chiefs, and then more of the same. Although they already had an established back, so that's why I think it just didn't go well with the Jets, and he went to a team with an established back in Clyde, and from there, I still think he could do something in the right situation, and he goes to Baltimore, who obviously has a great O-line. There's opportunity with JK being done for the season. I think something could happen.
The only person that this hypes up is Dan, who traded a first round.
The first round pick. He may actually get value from that first round pick that he did draft with.
Nothing changes there. That was a terrible.
Yeah,
terrible
you're right. That was terrible. All right, so we have two other big news for running backs. We have Austin Eckler, which just came out about maybe an hour ago, being sidelined for practice today, not really practicing. Who knows? It is Wednesday. They play Sunday, so we'll see what's happening. If he continues to be sidelined throughout this week, that will be a question mark. But right now, I think it's just random news because it wasn't like a serious injury that blew up in our face. And then we have Saquon Barkley. He is said to be set to be starting, but once again, another question mark. I mean, how do you guys think about Saquon going into week 1?
Let's hear it, Badger.
He is on your team, so
Yeah, he is.
I didn't want to inject my opinion.
Yeah,
on your
honestly,
man.
at this point, I've been planning to not have him, as I haven't had him in my starting lineup. Even if he does play, I will have no choice but to play him. From my team's perspective, it's pretty much him, Leonard Fournette, Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams if I want to throw him in there. But I'll be forced to play him. If he does play, probably I would say 10 to 15 points max. I don't think he's going to see over 55% of snap share, no more than 15 carries, and if we get lucky, a touchdown. So that's all I would honestly be hoping for, maybe 4 or 5 catches for 40 or 50 yards. So that's what I would expect out of him week 1. Thankfully, we're in a dynasty league, so
Facts.
hopefully I'll have more years to come with him.
Yeah.
But we'll get into it later. Luckily, I'm playing the worst person in the league this week. So hopefully
That is true.
Hopefully
That
that
helps.
gives me a week 1 win.
Yeah, that does help you. You'll definitely go at least 1 win, but the other point medium will be rough there. So to finish off, we do have a special surprise. I was working with people to get a website built that fully integrates the Sleeper app and integrates our league into a website for anyone that is a viewer, friend, family who doesn't have access to our Sleeper logins. Obviously, they could still join in. They could see our matchups. They could look at our teams. They could see live updates. They could watch our scoring, who's winning each week. And it's pretty awesome. So I'm going to pull that up right now. And this is the first time that anyone will be seeing it besides my eyes. And I did give a sneak peek. So everyone, here is the website. So right off the bat, it's the homepage. So you see everything from 2020 as of right now, because obviously the season hasn't started until tomorrow. But we do have our welcoming message. I'm not going to read it to you. You can read it when you come visit. And it does give you a quick rest of the season power rankings of who they believe is going to be a top team. I believe this is actually based on this year. So right now it has Andy Reid Gut, which is Ryan, and myself as the top 2 teams, and then Judge Judy, which is Andy, as the next team, followed by a 3-way tie, or 4-way tie actually here. Other than that, we have matchups, which is going to be a big key part kind of going into what we are aiming to do with our league. So here you can obviously expand and minimize each lineups. The projections are off. I don't know how quickly they will update, but it says I'm projected 150, but in my real league, I'm projected 167. And everyone else is projected a lot more than what it says they do here. But you can continue and go through every single week, which is pretty sick right off the bat. Obviously, yeah, when playoffs come, we're going to have this. It looks like Derek already made the second round semifinals. Congratulations. But this will be pretty sick. I guess it has the most recent matchup here. I didn't get to play around with this, so this is almost new with me as well. But we do have the regular season, playoffs, and the championship and loser bracket. Other than that, we can go after that. You can go to trades and waivers, which this is completely live. So Derek did just drop Corey Clement. We did just have a trade between them two, so it's constantly updating. We did have our waivers that went, and it tells you the date they are processed. So these are getting updated pretty quickly, which is awesome. And you could go back all the way to 80 pages to see what happened in early 2000, which is dope. You then can filter, obviously, by both. And then here is the league information. So you can go to the rosters, and you can see everyone's roster. You can also expand it all to see their bench. The picks do not show up, unfortunately, but that is consistent with the Sleeper app online. The online profile does not have picks for some reason on there. But you can see every single team. You then can go to managers, and here I've asked everyone in the league questions. So everyone's favorite team is a logo attached to their name. As you can see, Andy, I did put Bills. So I want to congratulate you, Derek, on having another Bills Mafia in the league. And then, for example, you can click in. It gives everyone their location here, their favorite team, their brief bio, their team, their preference over rookies or vets, their favorite fantasy position, their trade desire, their favorite player, and their rival. It also breaks down their team records from the previous years. So I had, second place in most fantasy points, which is awesome, and it brings down your team. From here, you can either go back to all managers. You can kind of click through, read everything. But here you can see all team history. So Andy got first place in a lot of points. So you can see all the medals, which is awesome. Back to, this is every single team, all 12 of us, with their logos, team names. Hopefully those never change. You can go to previous drafts and the upcoming drafts. I was looking into this, which is awesome. It seems like it's trying to predict our draft. Obviously this is our last year's draft ranking, but I don't know. This is upcoming draft order 7% accurate. So this will be interesting to see how it progresses. This was last year's, which is extremely accurate of how it went. However, our 2020 draft did get mixed up to where my team is set second, however, but I really was third, and Badger was second, so things are mixed up, but that's okay. You go trophy room, see our champions, regular season champion, toilet bowl champion, it's Badger, and then records, all-time scoring, our old names, and it goes on. So you have also all-time rankings for Manager IQ, which this will be accurate, even more accurate, and what's the right word? It'll just have more data in 5 years' time, but you can also then break it down in 2020, and it will go year by year of the rankings for those. And yeah, there's a constitution, which this is defaulted, so I will be editing that. And then it's a straight link to Sleeper after that, which is pretty sick. And then these are the resources that are used to analyze every single thing, as well as having fantasy news and updates from Reddit. There's Twitter, like this. Austin Eckler literally updated on our website probably right away, instantly. So it's very accurate. And this is everything that we have. So far, the only thing that I do want to add is standings and our records, because if people are watching our league, they can see our matchups, but they won't be able to see our records and the standings that we have. So I need to find a way to have that implemented. And I did buy a domain, so that will be changing after this shortly. But yeah, this is the website. Oh, also, if you don't like dark mode, switch it to light. But I hate light mode, so this will forever be in the dark mode. That's the website.
Sexy.
Awesome.
I have it linked in the bottom of Twitch, so that can be accessed there if you want to click on it and join if you're a viewer right now, play around, and also for you guys. And then obviously I'll send it in our group chats and to our league. But
awesome.
Yeah, pretty sick. I'm excited for it.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And that's that. So now we're going to move on to the next segment just to keep this flow moving, and we're going to break down our matchups for the week. And this week is a special week because our league does a rival week where everyone was assigned a rival, and you play that person the first week and the last week of the season. And it's a very intense week because it's your rival, obviously. So you got a lot of trash talk, and power, especially if you win. You could just continue to brag and brag. So we're gonna do that. Derek or Badger, would you like to start that off and work our way into it?
There, go ahead.
Sorry, boys. My matchup?
Just all I think, right? I guess you can go over your matchup if you want to go first, and then we can maybe brief into the question of which matchups we're looking forward to. So maybe touch your matchup real quick of if you're scared or whatnot, and then we'll enter that last question.
Okay, cool. Alrighty. So I am playing Parker. I have to win this game, and
Yes.
really should go 2-0. I really think I have a lot of favorable matchups. Looking at my starting lineup, and this is just hope, but as long as Matt Ryan, the vet, comes out firing, I think him and Kyle Pitts are gonna be a great stack for week 1, and going through, I don't know, the rest of my starters, they all pretty much have solid matchups. But one thing I'm worried about is Curtis Samuel's injury. So if he's out, I just feel like Terry might get bracketed all day. So kind of worried there. But hopefully him and Fitz have a plan, a backup plan.
Question for you, Derek. I'm
Yeah.
seeing Pitts at 16 points. You actually think that's achievable in the first game?
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
I was gonna, make my stake and prediction for Kyle Pitts week 1. I think he gets over there. I think he scores a touchdown, and then he only needs to go something like 5 for 75 to hit 20 points. So I think he goes off against Philadelphia. I think he easily clears that, and I think that means Matt Ryan has a good game too.
Yeah.
So
Matt Ryan needs to have a good game for Pitts to go off, kind of.
that's really my hope and my worry for my matchup. And then, obviously not worried about Parker's team. That whole part of it isn't scary. But
It's tough when you have Carson Wentz starting as your quarterback.
right. I mean, it should be a rocky start. It should be a rocky start for Carson. He's starting Chase. He's starting 2 Steelers, Jonathan Taylor, Kittle, can't say anything about him, and then Elijah Moore and LaVisca Chenault. So that's a lot. That's 2 rookies throwing to his flexes, and one of his flexes is also a rookie. So I'm not worried. Definitely a must-win matchup, though.
It
Now,
definitely is. I agree.
yeah. So I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Am I
why
giving
don't Ben
my
and I break down our teams, then we'll go into our favorite matchups
I agree.
as
Yeah.
well. Because you'll touch on our other host since he's not here in your matchup, Derek. So as I said, I'm playing Dan. Fingers crossed, I'm getting lucky this week with my depleted team, but his team is also very depleted, as he has Kareem Hunt and Raheem Mostert, who are probably going to be time sharing. Obviously, Kareem Hunt, but Raheem Mostert expected to be splitting some carries as well. For the most part, I think the matchup I'm most worried about from a player perspective is the quarterback on the one. I mean, obviously I have Josh Allen, but Pitt, if they're D, is what people are expecting it to be. He may not get to that 25-point mark, and Justin Herbert, we saw what he can do last year, but also going against Washington. Wide receivers, I think I have a clear advantage with Thielen, AJ Brown, and DJ Moore. Chris Godwin, yes, he was a full participant today, but still injured, it looks like. So his target share may be depleted, and then obviously the Antonio Brown hype as well coming out of camp earlier this week. So fully expect Brady to be gunslinging it and everything. And then the tight end, I mean, I don't even know who this guy is, Conklin, that he's fielding from Minnesota.
Gonna lose his spot to Herndon anyway.
Yeah, not too worried about that, but you never know. It's fantasy. It's, there's a lot of luck that comes into it as well.
Agreed.
But overall, I think my team's going to at least get 1 point or 1 win this week. So if I make it out 1-1, I'll be more than happy.
Yeah, I could definitely see that at least for you. At least 1.
Yeah, give me 1 this week.
So for me, my matchup, I think I have one of the tougher, I guess, opponents in my opinion for week 1. But I'm still projected to outscore him by 13 points. I also do believe that my matchup and Andy and Ryan's matchup will be the 2 highest scoring matchups this week, in terms of like points against each other, and those 2, at least those 4 teams are making the median. But I'm not too nervous about my matchup unless Eckler is actually questionable. After hearing that news today, the only thing that's really a question mark is whether I should play Julio Jones or Allen Robinson, in my opinion. But I believe I'm going with Julio just because I don't trust Andy Dalton to throw the ball correctly with the Rams defense. So I don't think I can trust Dalton in week 1, especially against the Rams defense. So I'm going to take the risk on that. But I have a pretty favorable matchup. He does, in my opinion, he has better wide receivers. Stephon Diggs and Keenan Allen. I have DK Metcalf and Julio Jones. I think his wide receivers will possibly outscore mine. However, my running backs and flex destroy his, I think, all day. And QBs are kind of very similar, I believe. I think Ryan Tannehill will outscore Lamar Jackson this week just because Lamar is only throwing to Sammy Watkins and Mark Andrews. So
Mark Andrews, big week.
So who knows with that? And then I did just pay $24 to get Tyler Bass because I thought Derek was going to put $23 on him because that's all his fab. So I wanted to be funny and put 24. But he didn't bet on him, so I just got him for $24, which was going to happen no matter what. I just thought it would be more fun.
I don't know if I even would have beaten Dan's like $4 bid.
Yeah. But I'm excited for week 1. I do think I come out 2-0 if everything goes to plan, of course, with the luck on my side. But the only thing I'm nervous about is I am missing Monday Night Football. And he has Lamar Jackson, and that is the last player in our matchup to play. So not being able to watch it and kind of like yell at the TV.
Maybe you'll have a 40-point cushion.
So if I think I need at least 20 to 25 points to maybe feel comfortable, but he could still easily get that in like 2 rushes. So who knows at this point?
If Eckler doesn't play, I might have to play Larry Roundtree, my boy. He may be able to
I mean, putting him against Washington is pretty sketchy, so I don't even know.
Same with Booker if
yeah.
I still wouldn't play him, so it sucks.
Yeah.
I have no real advantage there.
But I'm excited for all these matchups. And then going over the matchups, that does bring us into the first question kind of the segment of which matchup does the panel look forward to the most? So if Derek or Badger wants to start off who they think, I believe they both have similar ones. So if you guys want to do that, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so obviously so excited for the season to start. And my matchup that I'm looking most forward to does not maybe have the best players, but it has the best rivalry. For anybody that's new to following our league, Smith and Leo, not exactly 2 peas in a pod, but they do get along well enough to make some terrific banter and shit talking. So I'm dubbing this the ideology bowl, as they never agree on anything. But one thing they can agree on is who's going to win the matchup, and that is Leo. And that's my prediction, by the way. Uh,
I agree. I
Smith,
agree.
Smith has every chance in the world to win this game. Uh, however, however, uh, he just traded Calvin Ridley to Leo, and then had Travis Etienne go down, which was
Yeah.
the guy who came back in that trade,
Hmm.
obviously with Chase Claypool. So I think that trade kind of pushes us over the edge, and Smith starts the season 0-2. But to kind of preview it
Wow.
and go down their star matchups, the quarterback position could be a huge determining factor, and I think obviously Leo has the edge here. Starting Kyler, I think against Tennessee, that's a favorable matchup. One I would expect Kyler to have a day against. And then uh, Aaron Rodgers going up against New Orleans, never a defense that you want to play. Also, it's away, and who knows where Aaron Rodgers' head is at any given moment. Um, Going down, the the running back matchups are kind of similar and almost a wash in my eyes. David Montgomery and Gus Edwards versus Joe Mixon and DeAndre Swift. Uh, we could see Swift get less than half of the carries or worse in week one. So that's a disadvantage just projecting that. And then Calvin Ridley, Robbie Anderson versus Brandon Ayuk and T. Higgins. I think there's a clear advantage there on the Ridley Anderson side. Um, Two good tight ends, Robert Tanyan and TJ Hawkinson doing battle. And then Corey Davis and Michael Pittman versus Chase Claypool and one of either Cortland Sutton, Damian Harris, or let's see who else. I don't know, maybe he starts Mooney. He loves that guy.
He
So
loves that guy.
the projections are 153 to 139. I'm gonna go with the projections and take Leo in this matchup.
Well,
Yeah.
I love it. I
I
mean, I agree with that.
Smith's gotten some bad luck, but yeah, he wasn't too happy yesterday. Apparently, Roto World wrote the article wrong, but news broke that Brandon Ayuk was only going to be a punt returner this week, and all hell broke loose
And
with
all,
that.
Yeah, if that were true, I mean, I think we'd all be digging Smith a grave.
yeah, that's just so
Poor guy.
funny. That's a good one.
But yeah, I agree. I think Leo gonna come out of the matchup. Especially, I think Calvin Ridley's gonna make the difference there. Obviously, huge acquisition for him, I should say, and especially with ETN now not being there for Smith this whole season. One season, Leo definitely won this trade, but we'll have to see how the rest of the years pan out. But
True.
in this matchup, yeah, gotta take Leo week one.
Hmm. Yep. So Badger,
Yeah,
what's
moving
what's your
on.
matchup? What do you
My
like?
matchup.
What do you like?
My matchup, I'm going with Hodge versus Pete. I think one, it's going to be a great matchup. Right now, Hodge is projected about 158 and a half, and then Pete's projected 160. So pretty close on the projections.
Yeah.
But I think there are larger implications in this game. Yes, Hodge has done a bunch to, try to make his team younger, but I still feel like he's in that win now mode. And then Pete believes that he has a win now team as well. So if someone has a bad week here and potentially goes 0-2, they might be thinking about making some moves in the near future. So I think that's some major implications here. Pete with Russell Wilson, he's been a top 10 quarterback for I don't know, like 6 or 7 straight years now. But does he potentially try to move him somewhere down the line for some draft picks or something like that, especially if Sam Darnold starts to play? So
Yeah.
maybe he can plug in potential running back down the future, right? If he starts out this season slow. Mike Davis, a lot of people think he's just a 1 year guy, and obviously Darrell Henderson appears to just be a 1 year guy. But I definitely give the quarterback matchup to Pete here. Russell Wilson, Matt Stafford. I think the Chicago D still might be okay, but obviously Stafford has a lot of weapons. I think he overperforms, but I think Russell Wilson will be nearing that 30 point mark this week. Running backs, I'm going Hodge here. Zeke and Aaron Jones against Davis and Henderson. And then, yeah, the wide receivers for me are tough because I'm high on Lockett this year. I think he has the potential to still be a wide receiver one, and I think he's going to try to show it week one. So kind of a wash. Obviously, Hopkins can go off for 30 points, especially if Murray's throwing him the ball. So I would lean a slight edge to Pete there. And then obviously tight end Darren Waller, Logan Thomas, got to go with Waller.
Yep.
In that. But overall, I think it's going to be a great matchup. I think both guys are going to get that league median extra win. But if something goes wrong, let's say Mike Davis, lays an egg or something like that, and Pete goes below that league median, and then next week he also loses 1 point. Who knows? Or same thing with Hodge. Maybe Hodge will finally trade me Zeke. Worrying about.
That's true. You do love Zeke.
I love Zeke this year.
Yeah. They're going to be great matchups. And the reason why I love Hodge and Pete as one of my top matchups is Pete is the reigning champion. So after winning the league, you got to come out. Like, your team needs to perform week one. If you don't perform week one, that's like, obviously it's all luck in his fantasy, but it does hurt momentum. It does, it hurts. It's like a stab in the chest. You won the championship, and then you're going, 1-1 or 0-2 in the first week, and you feel like you got a slow start. Plus, it's big. It's a big implication on what they do with their teams. If they both, if one of them loses bad and 0-2, it could change their whole style of what they do for the rest of the season. So I definitely agree with Badger here with Hodge and Pete being a top matchup this week. And then another matchup, I had two just because I wanted to touch this on. Derek and Parker's matchup, I definitely am looking forward to it because of two reasons. One, Parker is the loser. He got punished. He made a lot of moves this offseason, and this is the first time we're about to see a kind of like a newer team peeking out. So we need to see how that performs. And then for Derek, he was hit with some season injuries. He is trying to get a running back, been trying, and I think it's just a huge game because if Derek does lose, it does put a burner on his team, and it hurts a lot, especially against the loser of last year. So I'm loving these two matchups. I'm gonna be watching them closely because they're gonna be intense, and for Pete too. Like, if that man wins, he can just constantly say whatever he wants to us, and we can't say anything. And from that, we kind of talked on it before, our league does do a win for the top median and a loss for the bottom median. So what that is, if you don't know, if you have the top, we're 12 teams, so if you're the top 6 teams of the most points scored within that week, you do get an additional win. But if you're in the bottom 6 of points scored in the week, you do lose. So we're definitely going to talk about who our top 6 are to make the league medians. I believe Derek and Eric do have the same list. So if you guys wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. starting with yours truly, uh, I think I'm gonna have a really good week one. That's not just BS. I definitely like a lot of my matchups, and a real weak spot on my team um, is a running back room, but I think uh, I think they both actually have good weeks. Miles Sanders going against Atlanta, not a good defense at all, really in all phases. So um, I think he could he could definitely show why he's the number one back there and why he should be, and why he should get many carries this year. Hopefully, please. And then there's Chase Edmonds, who I think is going to have a really hot start to the year. A lot of targets. So yeah, I think I clear that bar, and then uh, just kind of looking at everybody's teams and not trying to predict every single player. I have Badger, Ryan, Vinny, Haj, and Pete. So really, really looks like if I'm right about that, there will be a bunch of blowouts, and then Haj and Pete's game will be a shootout. Um, I kind of see that. I kind of see it going that way. I don't think Leo or Smith has the type of team to really put up insane numbers. Although Leo definitely has that capability with, Ridley plus Murray. But I'm going to leave him out this week. And I say Haj and Pete's matchup is a crazy high scoring one.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think the
Yeah.
one team we left out, Vinny, that maybe you included, is Chris's team, and we subbed him.
I did
From my
include.
perspective, I subbed myself for Chris just because he has a lot of just question marks, I would say, on his team with Gerald Everett. I don't know if he's actually going to get to that 11-point mark with DK, Tyler Lockett, and Dwayne Eskridge now being healthy. I think that could take away some target share from
Yep.
Callaway. There's a lot of hype around him. I know he's Jameis's favorite guy, but is that actually going to come to fruition and get him the 15 points? And then Marvin Jones, I'm also high on, but there's a lot of mouths to feed there in Jacksonville, so I don't know if any wide receiver is really going to go over that 15-point mark for them unless Trevor Lawrence is, just solely targeting them that week. Obviously, Diggs could overperform and get him 25 points,
Yep.
but that's the main reason I left Chris off and put myself on. I didn't update this. Even if Saquon doesn't play, I think I still have a chance. But if Saquon plays, I think that I get to that league median. I think it's around 152 right now. So I think that's the main reason why I left Chris off for this week.
Yeah, I agree. The reason why, so my list, obviously myself, Ryan, Chris, Haj, Peter, Andy. The only two difference between Badger and Derek's list is the Chris and Andy pick. The reason why I chose Chris was I just think a lot of teams are going to score low. So I don't think it's going to be a race to like 150 points. I think it's going to be more of a race to like 130, 135 of the median. And I think Chris's team definitely hits that mark, which kind of makes me obviously nervous because I'm up against him this week. But I think I'm fine. And then Andy is more of not really like a sleeper pick, but I just feel his team last year was a top point scorer. Last year he was scoring so many points per week. If Dak's playing, I'm a little scared about Dak this week against Tampa Bay on Thursday night. Coming back from like an injury, first game playing an insane Tampa Bay defense, he's gonna get hit with that offensive line injury, especially. So that's a question mark, but I just feel his team is overall solid, a PPR machine with just getting a lot of points. So I could see Andy probably outscoring Derek is probably where I swap that out of. But yeah,
Okay.
that's that. I mean, I'm interested to see how they come out, like which ones are like the upsets. But moving on to the next question, to which team we think is going to put up the most points this week. Derek, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, I will. I truly think that there's, you know, a really good chance, percentage-wise, that it is me, but that's not who I'm gonna pick. I think the
Okay.
responsible choice is your team, Vinny. The way I always describe your team, as you know, is the only team with no weak spots, and I think that is probably just the safest thing to bet on, if you're really trying to make a prediction here. And I'm not gonna homer it. I think I got a good shot, but honestly, I'm taking your team. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking my team too, not just because I'm biased and I'm betting on myself. It's just it would either be me or Ryan Kelly, but like I want to win, so I'll pick myself. But Ryan's team is obviously my other choice, just because his
Yeah,
team has.
Ryan has that ceiling every single week. Having three of the highest scoring fantasy wise, and also most talented players football wise on his starting lineup week in and week out. Uh, for anyone that doesn't know, CMC and then the Mahomes Hill stack, it's scary each and every week, and it could literally be 100 points at the drop of a hat. So
Yeah. I think that was Badger's team too, because
Yeah, that
I
was.
know he's hyped about it. He's
yeah,
smiling.
sorry.
He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be right." Okay.
I picked R. Kelly,
Yeah.
right? Like you guys touched on, CMC back
Mm-hmm.
100%. Knock on
Yeah.
wood. Hopefully he stays healthy. I think he can go north of 30
Mm-hmm.
this week if he wants to against that. I mean, name five guys on the Jets defense. You probably can't. Um,
You probably.
Tyreek Mahomes stack. I think that yeah, Cleveland's D is good, but I mean we saw what Mahomes can do in the preseason. Just from those couple of series we saw. Gaskin was just named the starter. I'm actually taking a prop bet on him over 18 and a half yards. It looks like it's moved to 19 and a half, but he's going to get those receptions. He hasn't failed to get to, he only failed to get to 19 once last season. So if Tua wants to check it down to him, I think he gets to that number easily. I think he can outperform this projection north of 15, honestly, especially with that news coming out of Miami. Like, he's going to be the guy. They're not necessarily going to do that committee.
Yeah.
We touched
Disclaimer.
on it earlier.
Disclaimer though, this is not pro advice here.
Not betting
Bet at your
advice.
own risk. This is not my fault.
You're right. You're right. And then, yeah, we touched on it earlier. Chris Godwin might not be 100%. Yeah, he wasn't on the injury report. If he's not there, I think Mike Evans gets more volume share. He exceeds the 16. And then Gronk. We saw how much Brady loves him in the postseason last year as well in a tight end premium league. If he gets 4 or 5 receptions and a touchdown, he's going over that 12-point mark. So, and then one of my favorite players, Brandon Cooks this year. I think
Yes.
a lot of people are sleeping on him. I know Tyrod's throwing him the ball, but someone's got to catch it. So I don't know if he'll exceed this 15 points, but I think that overall those top tier guys that we just named give Ryan Kelly a chance to, get over that 165, 170 mark this week and make a statement here. But really high on his team this week and pretty much all season I will be as well.
So this is kind of like an improv question here. Now, what would be your projections for Ryan Kelly's team? Like, what are you expecting to see? Like, what's your number for most points?
I'm thinking 175. We'll probably get it done.
175, 180. Now you're doing a range, huh?
I'll do 177. Kind of split it. 177. I think.
177. Okay. All right. I think for me, if I'm going to do quickly and I project myself as being it, I think 168.42.
Write this down.
168.42 is going to be the highest scoring, and whether it's me or someone else, I just think 168.42 is going to be the score. Derek, what are you thinking for me or yourself, since you kind of were up in the air?
Yeah, I think, I think north of 155 is like realistic. And could very easily be the highest scoring, team of the week. However, I mean, if we're just imagining what could happen, I mean, I think you could certainly, breach 180. So, look, it won't be against
180.
my team, so I won't be upset, but
180.
If someone scores one, let's say someone scores anything over 175, you just got to take the L at that point.
Well,
oh,
Derek, wait,
Well,
did you
yeah,
take the
except for
L?
that one.
You took the L,
I
dude.
no, I won that
Oh,
matchup.
Andy took the L, scoring like
It was like it was like
188 points.
no, it was almost 200, dude.
Well, yeah, almost.
I
But
thought
now it
I
doesn't
thought you
matter
were
'cause
right there.
you got the league median now, so you get that extra
Yeah,
one. So
exactly.
you
I
can
get
out.
it,
Right.
which is awesome. Now, after going from the most points, we're going to switch over to who do we think is going to put up the least points. Derek and Eric, again, once, copying the same answers here. Very consistent, and then I'm kind of like the outcast of like hot takes, kind of. So, if you guys
It'd be
want to take it
interesting
away.
to see what Smith would have. And
I know,
He'd probably put
yeah,
Leo here.
I'm
He'd probably
super.
put Leo.
I think he would put Leo just because he hates him.
Bad juju.
Uh,
I
hate's a strong word, but that relationship. It's definitely entertaining.
The
I'm picking
ideology
Dan.
bowl. It's
I'm
gonna
picking
be
Dan for
a
this.
good one this season for sure.
So both
I
you
don't.
and Dan.
Yeah. I mean, we touched on it earlier.
Yeah, we did.
He's fielding a bunch of backups this week, it looks like, outside of his quarterback. I mean, Antonio Brown maybe can, get him up there, but do you really
Thank
think
God.
Hollywood is going to do much? Do you think Kareem Hunt's going to do much, right? So,
There's
I mean,
just a
he's projected
limit.
the lowest, so I guess not really going out on a limb, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think this week's his week. And, I'm probably wrong, so, and I'll probably lose 0-2.
And I'll probably go 0-2.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think he needs some really dynamic plays. He needs some touchdown. He needs a lot of touchdowns rather. Um, it's just looking weak
Yeah.
and bleak. Sorry,
Yeah.
Dan.
Sorry, Dan. I mean, I agree his team does look weak, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it's all the injuries. Maybe it's just because they're like second-year players coming off a weak season and they're expected to be putting up 20 points a game and be the next superstar, be the next group of superstars for the NFL. But I had to put down Smith as my team to score the least amount of points. I mean, he has good pieces. Like you love the names on him, but will they actually perform week one? I don't know. They all have tough matchups, in my opinion. Like they're playing against really tough defenses. You got Ayuk, who is a kick returner. And you're starting a kick returner. I don't know what he's doing there, but everyone else has like difficult matchups. You got New Orleans. He's got to go up against with some of his players. Against Minnesota, he's got San Fran, Buffalo's defense, the Giants' defense. Even like a lot of these matchups are extremely difficult. So I just feel like his team may suffer and only put up like 122 points this week, and definitely be under the median. So I know he'll get a loss there. It'd just be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
And I think,
I agree.
and I know Leo will beat him, and that would be pretty sure 3-0 or 4-0 against the rival. So that would be, even
Crazy.
even more just like higher status for Leo if that happens, which would be kind of wild because I know they'll continue to bicker and they'll be brought up every single time. And moving forward to the least amount of points, we are going to talk about players now on our own teams of who we think will outperform their projected points. Some of them may be hot takes, but some I think they're kind of maybe obvious besides Derek's, especially mine. But I think we can get into that and we can talk further about why we think they're outperform and what their projections are. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'll start us off. So this is not homerism once again, but Mr. Kyle Pitts, I think is projected a little bit too low, and that's only because I think he has a great matchup. I know actually he hasn't played in the preseason, so besides projecting him into a role, there's absolutely no NFL tape on him for the Eagles to look at from the preseason. Besides one play where he had a 27-yard gain on a little
dump pass, yeah,
a little dump screen. Arthur Smith is honestly one of the reasons why I drafted Kyle Pitts over Najee Harris. He's going to scheme stuff up for him. I don't know how he doesn't get involved in the game, with his draft capital, for one. And then, for two, you look at, the Eagles defense, and it's not admirable at all. They have a couple star players, and they won't be affecting Kyle Pitts unless he lines up all the way on the outside and Darius Slay takes him, for whatever reason. But I don't think they're going to try to. I don't think they're going to try to cover him one-on-one at all. It's going to be a dual effort from linebackers and safeties and bracketing. But I think the formation trumps all of that. I think you will see some games where he gets shut down because he will become that focal point. But I think in week one he definitely outscores his I think 16.27 projected points in our tight end premium league.
Yep. We are tight end premium, so that could definitely assist Kyle Pitts in outscoring projections very quickly.
So I'm gonna make my call now. I was going to wait, but since I'm using Kyle Pitts as my projected outscorer on my roster for week one, official pity party alert. I am calling 20 points for Mr. Kyle Pitts, coming from 5 receptions for 65 yards and 1 touchdown.
For week one.
Yep. That'll be 20 points even. And that's what I actually predict is going to happen. If not better.
It's not a terrible prediction. I do think it's maybe. I mean, it's only 5 receptions, so 7 or 8 targets, depending on how good at catching is in those throws. So could be.
I'm saying he's going to get to 20 points because of that touchdown. I don't think he's going to have. I don't think he's going to have 9 catches, but I think he'll get a lot of yards after the catch. He will get the ball in open space, leading to those yards after catch. And I'm going out on a limb and saying they have a play drawn up for him when they get to this 4-yard line, and
he'll get the
he's
touchdown.
a free man.
He's a grown man. He is a grown man. I mean, I agree. I think Kyle Pitts would probably outscore his. I mean, I think it's close. Actually, he might get like 15 points.
If Kyle Pitts is outscoring if he's even reaching his projections week in and week out, then I think I made the right call.
Of course, yeah. I mean, 16 points is a lot for a rookie on his first game, but I think it's possible, but will it happen? 80% no.
Okay.
Yeah. That's I mean,
I have Hayden Hurst. They have him projected 8 points, so that's like 25 points at range for tight ends. It's a lot of tight end points.
Yeah,
I don't
know if Hayden Hurst is going to be taking that many points away from Kyle unless you get points for blocking, but he could he could scoop up a few points. He might have a catch.
Yeah, it's gonna be
It'd be a waste.
We'll
Be a
agree to
waste of
disagree on this
a
one.
We'll
throw.
agree to disagree on this one. Oh, Badger. All right, Badger. Who's your outscorer on your team this week?
Yeah, I'm going Adam Thielen, my boy. I know Hodge is listening. I know you want Adam Thielen. I want Zeke. So work it out before tomorrow night, or the price is gonna go up because Adam Thielen is gonna stomp his projection. I think he's going north of 20, 25 points.
Wow.
Last year, week 1, he put up 32 touchdowns. I don't think it's out of the realm, honestly. Nova Irv Smith, who everybody was talking about, was taking red zone touches away. Justin Jefferson, he's the long ball guy. He doesn't get targeted that necessarily that much in the red zone. Adam Thielen is the guy. Cincinnati's defense is awful. I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota puts up 30 on them. And I think he's probably going to get 8 to 10 targets. He catches 6 of those, 60, 70 yards and 2 touchdowns, and we're there. So I don't think the 17 points is, I think that's okay, but I think he's going north of 20 this week and going to put a close competition on my boy Josh Allen for most points on my team this week.
Wow. I mean, we have it written down. We had it said. Do I agree that it would be that high? No, but I think I can agree that he'll be higher than 17 points. And he'll definitely out-project what he's projected. He'll definitely be your highest scoring wide receiver this week. Because I think Julio would take too much away from A.J. Brown against Arizona. I'm ready for it. Holy shit. We're literally, 24 hours away? Almost? We're almost there. So for my team, who I have out projecting, if you know my team, it may be obvious just because I don't think the news fully hit into his projections, even though it should have by now, but I just don't think they're understanding what he can do. But that's going to be James Robinson. He's only projected 15.89 points. He's scoring 20 points. The Texans suck. The Texans' defense is so bad, especially against the run. They don't have J.J. Watt anymore. Who's gonna stop this man? The Texans' offense is terrible, so the Jaguars will be on the field. The offense is gonna be there. ETN is not doing anything. Carlos Hyde maybe, but James Robinson is going to go off this week. He's scoring at least 20 points. He's going to break his projections. I think it's obvious. Anyone else on my team will be tough to say they're outdoing their projections just because their projections are high. Slight brag, I guess. I'll humble myself. But James Robinson is my projection to outscore. Actually, you know what? Tyler Bass, too. I think he gets more than 9 points. But
Why, you think stalled drives?
What? I mean, the Pitts defense
What's your analysis there?
The Pitts defense is pretty good.
I think he's going to kick 5 extra points, and that's it.
I think he what? What? I think he kicks at least 2 field goals, and they could be 50 yards, so we get the bonuses on that.
Yeah.
That's why. But yeah, I think James Robinson is the obvious one for me to choose to outscore the projections. And that's really it. I mean, we went over a lot of the matchups in our league. We got a lot of high-scoring matchups that I think will come. The only one matchup that we kind of brushed on was Ryan and Andy's. We did talk about Ryan's team and how much of a juggernaut it is. And Andy's team also being a juggernaut, especially when healthy, because he's got Dak Prescott, who could easily throw for the most yards this year. He's got Dalvin Cook, who is just a freak. Antonio Gibson, who's supposed to be the new Christian McCaffrey, which who even knows at this point. He's got Cooper Kupp, who is supposed to have a great bounce back year, especially not really doing too much last year. So I'm excited. New quarterback, new scheme, playing Chicago, so they're definitely going to put up a lot of points because Chicago isn't. I mean, the only question mark on his team really is Judy and Mike Williams, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and
Andy has an extremely well-rounded team.
Yes. And he
Him,
goes very
Wilson,
unnoticed.
Wilson.
Yeah.
So, he's never in the chat. He never wants to trade. He just keeps his team.
So that may hurt him in the future, especially being a dynasty team and having just your team and that's it.
I sent out that fire sale message in the chat, and he liked it, and I hit him up immediately, and I got no response. Literally got no response.
He's probably working or he's just drinking right now. Because I did yesterday. He was working. I drafted his ESPN team at 10 o'clock at night. Went to like 11:30. Actually, no, went to like 12 o'clock. I drafted his team.
Sounds like illusion to me.
And when I tell you this league is terrible, guess who was drafted second pick, first overall? Second round, first overall. Sorry. You'll never guess. Somebody tell you. It was Tom Brady. So that is the type of team and players that I was going up against. So it was a 10-person team, but I got oh my god, the team's kind of filthy. I love it. And I told them that we're splitting the pot, so I'm ready to win some more money. But going into, we went over every matchup. We kind of went over who we're excited to see, what we're looking forward to. When time comes, and after I talk to Better Fantasy, never brought it up, but if they're watching, I'm going to bring it up now, and I'll talk to them. But I would love to have our league linked up so that their platform, which we kind of plugged in the beginning, their platform allows you to bet on your fantasy matchups if you have it linked on Sleeper every week. Also player props, but the matchups is what I'm going to be looking forward to the most because I am betting myself 100% of the time. But I would love to have viewers and fans and people that are interacting with us to bet on our matchups as well, because we now have that website which they can watch our matchups live to make it even more interactive for them. And it's going to be awesome. Like, our league is super involved. They love every minute. We're talking every single day. So that shit's going to be crazy. But better fantasy is going to be big.
BETTOR.
Yes. Going to be wild. You keep your eyes out because it will be big. Now to our last kind of wrap up, because we did break over an hour, but I do want to just wrap it up quickly in a little kind of hot take, also last minute, who we think our top overall performer of week 1 will be, including quarterback. So this is everyone, and this is on our scoring, I guess, so it's going to differ from what you see. But yeah, Derek, do you want to have your hot take here? Top scorer overall? Oh, we wore the jersey. Josh Allen.
Gosh, I hope you're right.
Josh Allen. Top overall scorer.
Formidable defense, but
yes.
I need to throw some good juju and manifestation out there. A little bit of a homer pick, however, it's extremely realistic. I really hope, there's no step back, and everything I've seen just suggests that he got even better this offseason. So
yeah,
it's a homer
pick.
pick.
Preseason game looked unreal.
He looked disgusting.
Oh my god!
Like Gabriel Davis
literally watched highlights. I literally watched highlights of that preseason drive because it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Actually, I was with you, Ben, when he threw that touchdown.
Yeah, we were watching.
Um, yeah, so yeah, I mean, obviously it's still a realistic pick, but uh, even though it's a little bit of a homerish pick, but you know,
It
Mr.
is real.
Josh,
It's realistic, especially with 6 points per touchdown for QB. So
yeah,
Yep.
and also he had a really great game against Pittsburgh last year, I believe. Um, Especially in the second half, he really picked it up. So I think he dismantles the D, and it's not that great of a game. Oh, come on, bro. He's gonna dismantle it.
he's gonna
You're literally biased.
dismantle
Yeah.
that fucking D, bro.
Yeah, and I don't think it actually ends up being a close game. So go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Josh Allen.
God, Josh.
Yeah, Andy, if you're listening, free advice right here because you have the man on your bench
He does.
that is going to outperform the QB you currently have starting. And that's Tom Brady. This man is on a mission once again. He said last year he wasn't even expecting to win the Super Bowl, and they did. You saw what they did at the end of the year. I mean, week 15, 16, 17 last year, at least 27 points every game. I think Tom Brady is going to gunsling that ball 45 times at least. He's going to have 3 or 4 touchdowns and probably fastly approaching 375 to 400 yards against what people think is going to be a better Dallas defense, but come on. It's Dallas.
Yeah.
I think Brady, there's too many weapons. They can't guard everybody. And I think the Bucks, unfortunately, with having Leonard Fournette, they're going to realize we don't even need to run the ball this game. Let's just throw it around. I think that hopefully for this bold take, hopefully Dallas keeps it semi-close so that they continue to throw the ball. But I think even if they're up by a bunch, Brady's going to want to just put it on them and make a point in his, what is this,
Put it on
21st
them.
or 22nd
You
season.
guys are you guys are very sexual in these takes right now.
We're all pent up for week 1.
You guys are
Yeah,
very.
dude. And he's gonna get it done. He's gonna get it done.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I definitely could see that. It's Tom Brady against a defense that had no idea what they were doing last year. So
Andy, you know what to do.
if he's listening, but he probably isn't, and he's got
Dak
26 hours, 25 hours. Yeah, mine is not going to be a QB. Mine is going to be Christian McCaffrey. Yes, he's coming back off an injury. I don't know if he's actually going to be limited. That question, I don't know. But he's playing the Jets. I think the Jets are good, maybe on defense a little bit. But, like, he's playing the Jets, and Sam Darnold is just, like, he could just dump it every single time to Christian McCaffrey. I mean, last year he put up 28 points week 1, and then he got, he was hurt. But I think he could just be super explosive and drop 30 points and just absolutely go off. And my hot take, which I've been seeing a lot on Twitter, is that Jalen Hurts not only will be a top 5 quarterback in week 1, but he will be closer to the QB1 in week 1, just based on his matchup and everything else. Am I starting him over Tannehill? No. But it is a hot take. I mean, I don't know where everyone is getting this love from Jalen Hurts. I love him, but like everyone is hyping him up to be a top 5 quarterback this year. From what I'm seeing, I don't know if it's just an algorithm just pushing him towards me on Twitter, but I see a lot of what?
They got your cookies. They know what you're serving.
Yeah, they got my cookies. Oh my! Andy did just say, I just tuned in. What did you say about Brady? You're gonna have to rewatch the VOD, buddy. We're not telling you. But I do see Jalen. I mean, I'm gonna go off what Twitter's saying, and I'm just gonna say Jalen Hurts could be the QB1 and the top performer of week 1, especially being up against Atlanta. It could just be a air ball. Just every ball is in the air, or he's taking it with his hands and running, because that game is going to be an over if you're betting on it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love Jalen Hurts. I know we're wrapping up here, but I was forced in my projections to put him like top 15 because he can get it done on the ground too. And I think that's honestly what takes it to the next level now in fantasy. So I have him ranked, relatively high. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we talked about this before when it comes to Ryan Tannehill and Tom Brady last year's stats, where Tom Brady, I think, passing yards to him like by 600 yards, I think. But Ryan Tannehill ran the ball, which caused him to be within 2 points of the rankings. So rushing does provide a lot of fantasy points and fantasy value on quarterbacks, especially in our league and most leagues out there. Week 1 is starting tomorrow. This was our first podcast before it's not a first podcast, it's episode 8, but it is our first review of our matchups, because the most ones we're kind of just getting and introducing our league. We have the website. I will make sure it's linked and working, and I will update the link with the new domain for any viewers. We're going to be tweeting it out. We got a lot of stuff going on. I'm excited for this year. I'm ready to drink a lot of beer tomorrow. Maybe I'll get wings. I haven't had wings in so long, so maybe I'll get wings. But anyone have any? Go ahead.
Also, make sure you go to betterfantasy.com if you sign up to get on their wait list. 3 times better credits when they go live, which is probably going to be within the next week or so, I would say.
Yep.
But if you have any questions, just reach out to Vin or myself too. And also make sure you get that league on Sleeper, because Sleeper is the best and the only platform that can go with Better Fantasy right now too.
And API websites. I don't know if ESPN could do it, but that website looking clean as shit. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that website looking good.
Also, it's the only good platform.
It really is, and it's super entertaining. I fucking love Sleeper. I'm so happy they made this, especially because I have like 1,000 cookies and I just buy everything I want.
Yeah, give me a mascot, will you?
I will. I'll give the winners a mascot, maybe. But yeah, I'm gonna link also for anyone, just to end it, on Twitch and also YouTube. I'll have the links to Better Fantasy. I'm gonna get a URL, have everything linked. I already got banners from them, have their logo, so it's gonna look clean. And maybe I'll even link Sleeper down there just to get them to notice us, because that would be pretty sick. But other than that, stay safe, everyone. If you have questions, we are on Twitter. It should be linked in the Twitch. But if not, it's PnC _Dynasty. You can tweet at us any questions you have, DM, whatever you like. We're going to be there to answer. Not 24/7. But once we wake up, we'll answer throughout the day, especially in the time crunch for Sunday right before 1 p.m. We're going to be answering and helping you guys out. So if you do have questions, head over there. And I thank you all for tuning in, watching, supporting us. And that's episode 8. Let's go Brady? Maybe? 'Cause fuck the Cowboys.
Yeah, fuck the Cowboys.
Fuck the Cowboys. All right.